Welcome to People Love Process. T-shirt design has always been a format for design and illustration that I really enjoy. My first job after I graduated from art school was for a small screen printer, and my second job was for a larger sportswear company in the Seattle area where I developed lines for big retail stores nationwide. Today, the process of designing and printing a t-shirt is easier than it's ever been due to digital printing on t-shirt technology. In this movie, I'll create a design and show you how I use an online service called Cotton Bureau to digitally print and sell them. So let's jump into it and get started. So, of course, my process starts with doodling, and I had doodled this when I was on a conference call for a project with one of my clients. And it's how I pay attention, actually. I'm paying attention to them, but it helps me keep focus if I'm doodling. And I'm not really thinking too much when I'm doodling. But when it was all said and done, I go, well, I kind of like this. And I thought, hey, this would make a cool t-shirt, so I'm going to turn it into a t-shirt. So this was my doodle. And of course, I draw on top of it on my I have a thin light pad that I draw on top of with a translucent stock from Nina Paper. And if you want to know more about that, visit my website. I have a page for People of Process, and it lists all the supplies that I use on a regular basis, including the paper that I use for Nina. I've been drawing on it for well over, 18 years now, something like that. But I draw on top of this, and I want to build this more precisely. So I really think through shapes when I'm drawing, especially when I'm doing a refined drawing. My doodle, I wouldn't want to build from this. It's too much guesswork. But drawing on top of this, I can perfect those lines and know exactly how I want the shapes to be, and, button up the hand lettering that I have going on here as well. So this is where it starts. And like any other process, I'll select these two. I'll go to transparency, and I'll set it between 15 and 20%. We'll just do 20, and I'll lock the layer. And now on top, I'm going to build a segment of this. And this is really what I would call or define in the process of creating vector art as building free-form vector shapes. Now, some shapes, first, let's go to our graphic styles. I'm going to select, I have all these prefabricated graphic styles, 1.7. I think this one's 0.5. We can check by go to stroke. Yeah, it's 0.5. And I'll use these tolerances or graphic styles to start my process, because at this point, I'm focusing on shape and form and building. And the easiest of all shapes are the simplest shapes. So I can go to the shape tool, like the ellipse tool, and I can use that to form the eyes. These are easy. These are no-brainers like this. So I'd focus on those type of shapes first, and I'd do anything else that I could build with a circle, such as his little heart-shaped chest and where his, lack of a better term, nipples would be. I would just create the elliptical shape like that. And I can clone this, Command-C, Command-F. I have it applied to the F3 key because keyboard shortcuts is even faster than the new feature that I always have turned off, which is it's under Windows, the contextual menu bar. I think it gets in the way, but you could also select this shape and click the duplicate button and that new bar. So I would use these to even build shapes like this. So this one on top, and then all you'd have to do is go to Pathfinder -front to create like that. So I do all those shapes, but we're going to build his arm because it's more of what I call a free-flowing shape. It requires some understanding of how and where to place your Bezier curves. And one argument I make all the time, because I see a lot of reels that say, whenever you use, you're creating shapes like this, use the curvature tool. You know what? The curvature tool was a bad excuse for craftsmanship put out by the AI team, because if you learn how to build with the pen tool, you never, And I mean never need the curvature tool. I never use the curvature tool. And if you use great plugins from Astute Graphics, you can do a lot with those too. But we're going to, wherever your art comes to a point, gets a point, those are easy to discern. So we'll place one here. As it gets into this curve, we'll use a Bezier curve. And I don't bother trying to finesse the entire curve. I just pull out the handles to have access to them later. As it goes up into this, as you're going into a curve, like this, you don't have a distinct corner. It's just a curve. So you would go into the curve, putting a Bezier like that and pulling it out. I'm just clicking and pulling to reveal those handles. So click and pull to reveal the handles. That way you can form those curves. And then as it swoops down here, we'll probably have a curve right about at this point. So I'll click and pull again to create these, and as it goes around this tip over here, click and pull, and we'll adjust, go back and adjust those Beziers in a little bit. And the same aspect that goes here, we'll use this principle all the way around the hand. So it's not hard. You just, the more you work with the pen tool, the more you learn how it works, creating Bezier curves. By the way, just a little bit of history. In my book, Vector Basic Training, the history of the Bezier curve was it wasn't invented by Pierre Bezier. He's just the one that implemented it in design in a digital sense so he could design better car bodies for Renault. And it was named after him. And if in my book, I also talk about the original mathematician who came up with Bezier curves. And it's a good thing they didn't name it after him because it's really hard to pronounce his name. Bezier curves kind of flows off the tongue elegantly because it's kind of French, but the other guy, not so much. So we're just going to finish putting our anchor points here. And as it gets into this curve, we'll put one right about here where it comes to a point, gets a point. These are easy to discern. Now I'm going to skip this because I want to show you a plugin that I use literally all the time now since I first ever discovered the tool and the plugin. It's by Astute Graphics. It's called Subscribe, and it's awesome. Well worth its price in gold since I use it every day. And then we'd terminate it out here, and I go up to here where this point is because we're just focusing on the arm. I build in parts when I do this. The plugin I want to show you is Subscribe by Astute Graphics is the name of the plugin, but they have a tool called Arch by Points tool. Now, Illustrator has a tool called Arc tool, and again, it's worthless. This is the way it should work, but it doesn't. But Astute Graphics nailed it because I just go click, click, boom. Don't have to even touch any of the Bezier curve handles. I just pull it and it creates those curves. It's just mind-numbingly easy to use. And that's why I love it, because it gives you precise results and you don't have to fiddle around with anything. So any shape or curves that I can create with that, I always do that. It just makes the process go faster. Now I'm going to go back to all my Beziers and I'll just finesse them and adjust them where I think it should look good. This looks a little flat, so I think we can bring this over to add some nice volume there. This is looking flat, so I definitely want to adjust that to get that nice curve in there. We'll pull out this handle. So that's all you have to do. And vector art isn't about going fast. I mean, my daughter's a lot faster than I am than building. I'm more concerned with the craftsmanship. I want to get these perfected so they look elegant, they look smooth, and they're going to work really well in the final form. So I kind of painstakingly focus on this. And if you need to, it's always good to zoom in like that. And at times you might want to readjust the anchor. Maybe that slides over here, I think will allow us to distort it and curve it a little better like that. And we'll just continue to finesse these. I think this looking a little straight, so that tells me this one needs to kind of come out more. I think that looks better. So this is how I would create this with nothing but the pen tool. If you tried to build this with something like the curvature tool, you just waste a lot of time. It won't make it easier. And that's the frustration when I see a lot of these stupid reels on social is they think all these tips and tricks are going to save them time and perfect their art. And a lot of times it really doesn't. And it's kind of misleading in my opinion. The pen tool is still the best tool for creating free-flowing vector shapes, but you have to spend time with it in order to perfect your craftsmanship. That's true with any skill. And I think that's where most of those type of people who do reels like that, they go wrong. They don't put that time in to perfect their skills and craftsmanship, and they just think a tool is going to be the answer to everything. It really isn't. That's kind of Adobe's mentality. That's why they have feature bloat, but most of the time their features are kind of half-baked and not fully realized. You know, over the years, I've tried to improve that. I've been on their beta team, giving them feedback, but they don't always listen. So that's how I would create the arm like that, a free-flowing shape. You don't need to use any tool but the pen tool. You just have to spend time using the pen tool in order to understand how it works and how to implement it. Once again, wherever your artwork comes to a point is going to get a point. Those are easy to discern. The curves, on the other hand, is where it gets a little tricky. But if you just think about a clock and orient a clock, it's going to help you kind of figure out where to place your anchor points. If I select these two, if this is the top of the clock, what would this and this represent approximately? Well, it'd represent the 3 and the 9 on a clock if you kind of tilt it to the left in your mind. That's all it is. It's like a vector Jedi mind trick to help you discern where to place anchor points. So I just wanted to go over that. All the body parts for him are like this. And again, let's go ahead and zoom in here. I build things separately. So I built the arm, I built the head, I built this part of the right side of his torso and his arm separately, and the bottom of his legs, just because I find it easy. And of course, his little winky, we just use elliptical shape. So once I have all these, I can go ahead and just fuse them all together by clicking Unite on the Pathfinder, and now it's one complete closed path. And so that's what I would do after I have each of those independent shapes created. Now, of course, we have interior shapes. So if I turn this on, we go back up to his face, and I had created the eyes with the elliptical tool. Well, I'm going to use the elliptical tool to kind of create the curves on the top of his nostrils here. And go ahead and unite this. This is on top. If we fill it, you can see it's on top. So I'd select this shape, and I'd minus front just to get those two indications. And then on the bottom part of his face, with these, I'll just go ahead and unite those like that. So that's how I use simple shape building methods, such as the ellipse tool, to create detail like that. Now on the hair is the easiest of all. You know, now in the past, actually, before I show you that, in the past, I might go ahead and take the pen tool, and I might go click, click, and then click back. What I've done there is I've made a closed shape. If I go to the anchor point tool, I could distort this, and you could see that I created that hair. And there's no problem doing it this way if you prefer, but it's a lot slower than the way I'm going to show you. So I'm going to delete that, and let's zoom out. Actually, let's stay focused on the character. I'm going to turn on this layer, and all I've done is I've created all these hairs. What we're going to do is do a layer selection by clicking this dot to the right on the layers panel. It'll select all the hairs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to specify what size. Let's go to stroke. Right now it's just 0.5. So I'm going to give it more volume. So we'll go 1.75. So we made it fat, but that doesn't look good. That's okay. We'll go up here to the profiles, and we're going to select this one on top. It's profile number 1. It's tapered on the left and right. I'm going to click it. And that's how quickly you can create hair shapes like that. You don't have to create them independently. They could just be lines. You set the weight, you set the profile, and this is going to look good. Now, these are still just strokes with that profile being mapped to that line. If we go to Keyline View, Command Y, you can see they're still just strokes. So eventually, you're going to have to select these, and you're going to have to go to Expand Appearance. And then once you've done that, they actually become just filled shapes with no stroke whatsoever. If you go to Keyline, they're just shapes now. So easy way to create hair like that. So let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'll turn on, we built all of our typography here. And I handle typography, hand lettering that is, in much the same way like I did our little monkey guy here, is that I build it in shapes. So I built this part of the A and this part of the A for the crossbar, and I build them separately. I'll, of course, select things like this and unite them together before I move to color and stuff. But let's go ahead and turn on all of our base final vector artwork here. And I'll go ahead and select this, and we'll just fill it with black, get rid of the outline. We'll go over here, we'll fill this with black. We can sample what we've already filled. Same thing with this, fill this with black. We'll select all these shapes here, and we'll just color these white. Oops, color them white like that. So the base black and white, it's looking good. And this is where I'll start color exploration. Now there's the recolor tool in Adobe Illustrator. So if you select something, you can go up and click that. But the thing is, you have to have some color established. If I just select black, it's not going to do anything. So it's not super smart, in my opinion. And even the generative recolor, it's basically the same tool. They just made AI use that tool to give you suggestions. I just don't like coloring like that. I like doing it manually. And I physically set up my artwork like this in the document I'm creating. And then I limit myself. In this case, I only want 3 colors. This could even be 2 if I wanted it. But I've limited it to 3 just flat base colors. And then I just start experimenting what I think would look good. This one's good. It's using more practical color for the monkey, and then the pink for the heart. You know, maybe it's more red, maybe it's more purple. You know, I try a whole kind of reddish color here with a nice complementary color of this kind of cream color all the way through. But the one I like the most, I was originally focusing on this one, but then I went back to this one because I like the purple with the pink and the soft yellow. I think that one's going to work. That's the one we are going to be using. So this is what the final coloring came out as for this design. I also wanted to create a version that's kind of stacked where this character, if I go ahead and Command C, Command V, we'll paste it. I'm going to bring it up here. Let's go ahead and turn off. We can turn off that layer. And I'm just going to turn off Smart Guides, which is Command U. When you have it on now in Illustrator, it here, I'll just show you. I'll go Command U, turn it back on. It kind of, the feedback you get, it's always trying to snap. And so that's why I toggle it on and off when needed. So I'll put this on top. Maybe I bring all these down. We'll center it here so we can see all of them at the same time like that. And this is what I do in order to try to create multiple versions, because on the site I'm going to be showing you in just a little bit, Cotton Bureau, you can not only do t-shirts now, you can do, they got a lot of stuff. They have hardware now, meaning like cups. They have phone cases, and I was thinking maybe more of a vertical for a phone case here. And what I like to do is experiment. What color garment could this be on? Well, I've created this background color here to represent the garment. So if I click on this, maybe it's a soft blue. We'll punch in a number here so we can see what this looks like on a soft blue. I think that looks good. But I think maybe on a more natural color, it might be cool too. So let's go ahead and take some of this blue out down here. And we're going to add, we need yellow. So let's add some yellow in. And, ooh, that doesn't look bad either. Almost like a really light seafoam green. That'd work as well. But I'm going to add some red to it. Let's bring in red like that. So it's more of a, think natural color shirt, not off-white, but more of a muted, kind of a light tan. I think that'd look good too. So that's how I usually beta test what colors before I even jump into Cotton Bureau and put it to use. Now, when I set up this for the case art, if I click on this, I ended up changing it from this to this because I didn't realize until I went and checked out the cases that they have. You couldn't do one as tall as that. So, but the reformatted one does work on the case. And these are all ones that I mocked up on Cotton Bureau. So what I want to show you now is how to set up your artwork once you have your final design. And that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to click on this window. And this file size, if I click on the artboard, is 1500 by 1500 pixels. And I size my art so it's just barely not coming to the edge. Now, this design isn't completely square. It's square-ish, but it's not completely square. You can see we have more space at the top and bottom. That's okay. It's just I'm going to make sure in whatever way, if it's a little taller than thinner, then you wouldn't want to get it any closer to the edge than I have here at the top and bottom. But I think this is going to work. Note, we're in RGB mode here. This has to be an RGB file to use Cotton Bureau. And what I'm going to do now is go to Asset Export, and we're going to export out this design and save it as a ping image without a background. That means we want to use ping 8. And then the size I do is 200 ppi. And with that set, I can go ahead and export this out. We'll just make sure it saves it to our desktop. We'll go choose. And you can see it tells us it's saved that ping image out. So we're going to go ahead and move to the desktop now, and then I'll show you Cotton Bureau, and then we'll take the file we exported and create a t-shirt from it. So we're on the desktop now, and you can see I have my browser open here. We're at cottonbureau.com. I'm logged into my account. This just shows a bunch of t-shirts I've done. Now, most of the t-shirts I do are kind of one color. I kind of prefer that because when I just wore out my Tuscan Raider tour shirt, so I just ordered another one. But I like doing one color designs. This one's has multiple colors, but I'm going to show you how you create your t-shirt. So we have this 200 ppi folder. This is where we saved out the ping image. I'll just drag that to the desktop. We can close this, and we don't even need that. We can move that to the trash. So we have our ping here. Now we're going to put this to use. Well, once you have an account created, you would just go into your account where it says submit a design. We'll click that. It'll load the window, and this is where you just drag and drop your design. And this is what I'm going to do with my ping. I'll drop it here. It'll upload it. It'll show you a preview. Then you'll go down. You'll pick what do you want to do. Once again, you can do glasses and cups. You can do hats, tote bags, phone cases. We're just going to do a t-shirt here. So I'm going to click next. You'll say what kind of placement do you want. Do you want it to be max center? If I click this, you know, it's a little larger on the shirt like that. And I think that's the one I kind of like. But you can figure out what size. As shown here, you can customize the size on this one. And then we need to pick a color of a shirt. Of course, this is going to work if it's a white shirt. You know, that'll show. I have, what actually, let's go ahead and remove that. I want to make sure I have the right type of shirt selected. Okay. I'm going to try cream or banana. Ooh, actually, the banana one looks pretty good. Now, what I like is I like the polycarbon shirts. I think they're more comfortable. If you wanted to go with the standard 100% cotton, you could click on that, and it's fine. I just find those. It feels like I'm wearing canvas when I wear a fully cotton shirt now compared to poly cotton. Now they're just showing you a mock-up here. This texturing isn't as prevalent in the actual printing, but that doesn't look bad. But if you want to do another color, you could do another color. Maybe you do pink. Let's see if that's even going to work. It's not bad. I don't know if I like that. I'd probably remove it. You could go in, do another color. I kind of like the banana one. Let's try this one. This is naturals, and I think that one is the one I want it to default to for primary. So I'm going to remove the banana, make that primary, but then I'll come back and I'll do a banana one. And we'll go ahead and do 100% cotton on that one since the natural is natural. Let's see if we can find another color it would look good on. Here's one where it's a lighter green. I don't know about that. Mint. Let's try this light blue. It's a little too gray. So maybe I think I'll just stick with these two colors. So whatever you choose, that's fine. You can pick different garments. Doesn't have to be a t-shirt. Could be a long sleeve t-shirt, etc. They got hoodies. They have everything. Just explore through this. You'll find them. We're going to click next. This is where you give it a title. So this one's pretty obvious. Da Funky Monkey. And for lack of not writing anything beforehand, I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. Get your primal on. Have no idea what it means. That's the best I can come up with on the fly. And this is the part where you can tell them how much profit you want to make. By default, it'll be $5. So if you sell one t-shirt, you'll get $5 for that sold t-shirt. I'm going to leave it at 5. I'm not really doing this to make money anyway. You can do advanced settings. We won't even do that. And then you can go finish and submit. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's done. Now, I should point out that I've been using Cotton Bureau for years. I originally met the owners at Cotton Bureau years ago when I spoke in Memphis, Tennessee. They're great people. And it's nice now because whenever I publish something, it just immediately gets posted on the account. So if I go into my account and I go to products and I go down to the last permeation, you can see it show up here. Now, if you just start using Cotton Bureau, that won't happen that fast. You'll go through a period of time before they give you that ability to publish something immediately. So I just want to point that out. The more you do it, then eventually you'll be allowed to publish it live immediately. So it's a really, really cool service. I got all kinds of t-shirts here. I'm kind of a geek, but I created one based off of People of Process logo, the original logo that kind of started everything here on that t-shirt. And I have a lot of other t-shirts that I've done. I like geeky stuff, so I did a Tuscan Tour shirt. That one's a lot of fun. But Cotton Bureau is great. When The Mandalorian first came out and Disney didn't have any merchandise, and I originally did this t-shirt, which was the Mandalorian daycare service. In 1 month, I made like over $800 because everybody wanted something from the Mandalorian. So if you can jump on trends like that, it's not bad in terms of monetary value as well. You probably notice most of my t-shirt designs, again, are simply one color designs on a colored black garment, mainly because I prefer that. That's the aesthetic I really like. But the possibilities of what you can create and print are limitless now. So look through the Cotton Bureau site and come up with an idea you can bring to life on a t-shirt. It's a fun format for exercising your creativity. As always, like, subscribe, become a member, and share a link to this channel with someone you think would enjoy it. That would help me a ton, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, thank you for watching People of Process. And as always, I hope this content helps you to improve your own creative process.